works now. Yep. I just got a little bit of a time delay though. Is there a problem? Cool. Very nice. So I'll wait for whoever else needs to join. Um, the point of this is so hopefully you can follow me better and I can show you stuff without the lag that we have been having. And I figured I would just complicate things more by using YouTube. See how many people are having trouble. Okay, yeah. Some of you guys are having issues on chatting. The problem is probably that if you're using a school account, there might be an issue with that. Um, Weird. um, well, Hunter says he can see it at least. Yeah, if you guys can't get in, you probably want to set up your own Gmail account at some point. This week is just kind of a trial to see if this works at all. So far it's not working out so great, but we're getting there. Today I was just gonna kind of see what you guys are up to, how your projects are going, and then I was gonna show you a little bit about Unreal. Yeah, learning. Have a silent keyboard. Is this chat? It is kind of delayed, huh? There's like 15 seconds. Hey, what's up? So I don't know. Do you guys prefer a delayed chat or a smoother screen? Because I'll be able to do stuff now. I guess we'll see. We'll compare this with Canvas later. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. So some of you guys are having issues. Hunter already says he prefers Canvas. Let me know what you guys think afterwards. And I guess if you're ready, I'll just start doing stuff. All right, ready? Good enough? Yeah, I can try Twitch. Does Twitch do screen sharing too? Yeah. I only use Twitch for like PS4 stuff. Okay, maybe we can try that if that's better. I was gonna try to just do Google Hangouts, but it said Google Hangouts, if you want to record them, it has to run through YouTube Live, and you have to do a Google Hangout on air, which is what this is. So I don't have a huge problem with this, but if you guys are having issues, then we can do whatever. Oops. Okay, are we good enough? Yeah, game. I know I'm on. It was on YouTube Gaming. I had to switch it over to regular YouTube. Are we? I know a couple of you guys are still having issues, but I think I'm just gonna run with it. Okay. So I don't know. Hope we'll see if this eventually works out. Maybe we'll like it. If not, we'll switch over to Twitch or whatever. So for those of you who's with me, can you guys just give me all your names real quick? I have Hunter on just regular chat with me, so I'll try to share like what he says with you guys. For some reason he can Google chat, but he can't join up with this, so it's weird. Okay, Flynn, Parker, Zach, and I got Hunter over here too. It says 6 people are watching, so I think I'm missing one. Good enough for me. All right. So, anyways, how are you guys doing on your projects? Those of you that can actually respond. And by the way, you can use a mic, you can use video or whatever you want if you want to chat with me. Oh, it says 6 for me. So you're doing all of them. I found some new ones too for you guys. Two D side scroll. I keep hearing that everybody needs to catch up on their other classes first. You know, this class gets you just as much credits as any other class. So yeah, I saw the helmet. You want me to share that helmet? You guys can try to go get us some sponsors. Honestly, since we're yeah, don't do that. Since we're a school, like, and not that many schools are doing game design or development or anything like that, we could start reaching out to companies and try to get grants and try to like get money and get sponsored by them and stuff like that. Okay, so some of you guys are doing. How's the side scroller thing going, by the way, Zach? Really good. Cool. I showed a little bit of Blender last week, so I'm just going to show a tiny bit of Unreal. And don't get, you know, scared or worried. Oh, good. You already know. Yeah, don't worry. I'm going to go back later on, like after the break, and we're going to do 4 weeks of Blender, 4 weeks of Unreal, and we're going to all do that together. So right now, you're just kind of experimenting on your own a little bit here. Yeah, as far as the NX goes, Nintendo has been kind of off track for a while now. Hopefully, they bring it back because they do make some of the best games. Yeah, so this right now, this time where you guys are doing your individual projects, I know it's kind of like, what do I do? What should I do? The whole point of this exercise is to get you in a mindset where you can learn on your own. So when this class is over, or even during this class, I'm not going to be able to teach everything. You're going to need to be able to research on your own, find valid tutorials, follow those tutorials, and learn these skills so you can continue to develop as a professional. So these couple weeks here were basically just a test to see how you're able to do your own research and your own self-paced learning and projects and like motivate yourself. Um, so if it feels like I'm not holding your hand right now, I'm not. That's the whole point. So do what you can and don't worry about it. Are you doing that side scroller in C++ or with blueprints? We're not going to learn that much programming in this class. We're going to learn. I might touch on a little bit of C++ and a little bit of UScript, which is what Unreal uses sometimes. But mostly I'll just be doing blueprints. Yeah, blueprints are the easier way to start. If you want to learn C++, I recommend you just pick it up in your free time. There's a bunch of online learning sites and apps and stuff. So unless it pertains to doing a project in Unreal, where you can do projects in Unreal with Blueprint. I mean, with C++. But for our cases, we're just going to start with Blueprints. And if you guys learn some C++ on the side, that'll just be more helpful when it comes to doing more custom stuff. You know what? I did get your JavaScript. I didn't get a chance to check it out yet, though. I've been really busy. I will check your stuff out. I'll have to take a look at what it is, or I got to see how I can even open it. Yeah, a lot of learning code is people think you're just going to have a blank piece of paper and start writing it from scratch. Eventually you will, but until then, a lot of it is copy and pasting or kind of looking at code and editing code, taking examples. A lot of the code's already there for you. You're just changing things. Yeah, get Notepad++ if you don't already have it and you want to code. It's just like Notepad, but way better. It'll help you like finish your syntaxes. It'll put everything on its own lines. So if you are interested in coding, yeah, get Notepad++. If anybody finds a real good C++ tutorial site, let me know. I know there's a few free apps, but if anybody finds a real cool one, let me know. Also, you guys, yeah, Hunter says it's Notepad 2.0. You guys are going to start doing your game concepts and your game. Basically, you're going to come up with a concept of the game, and you're going to, have a storyline, characters. What's it going to be like? Is it, third person? Is it a fighter? Is it RPG? Whatever. And then you're going to come up with a whole pitch, basically, and you're going to try to pitch it like you're selling it. And then whichever pitches we all like together is the ones we're going to eventually work on as a full game. Hunter wanted me to share. He's got an idea, but he'll get way more into depth once we get to the pitch. But it basically is a game with 3 different races with animals, humans, and cyborgs. So that's one. Tell me anything else you want me to share, Hunter. You guys will have more chance to elaborate, but. Oh, it's an MMO first-person shooter with animals, humans, and cyborgs. 3 races. So that's Hunter's. That's his brief idea. So you guys can keep thinking about your own ideas. Once we get to that point, then we'll break up into teams. And hopefully you have learned a little bit enough to start messing around. Hopefully we'll have a couple artists, a couple code programmers, maybe a designer, and so on. So as far as this week goes, classwork, I just need an update. So just show me your progress update here. Oh, it's a little laggy, huh? And then also go into the discussion and share your update there. So if you have a model, if one team has 5 graphic artists and the other team has like 15 programmers, I'll try to spread you guys out. So I'll make sure that we might even just be one big, huge team, depending on how it works out. So this is Flynn's, yeah? Yeah, one big team might be the best, I think, too. That way we can just get more done, The only reason I said maybe multiple teams is if maybe you guys can't all agree on one game. So we'll see when it comes to the game pitches. And a pitch is like a sales pitch. you know. Yeah, I did. I'll pull that one up too. So this one is cool. Not so bad. You can see there's no inside faces, which is normally fine. If this is going to be on a guy, that won't matter generally. You may want to oops. You might want to give them like a little depth to the eyes. Just any place that you'll see, you want to give depth to. You can even give this whole thing like a little bit of a lip. Hold on. I'm ruining it, says Hunter. But anyways, you might want to give it a tiny bit of depth. You already did that kind of around the side. So if there's a head in here, you should be fine. I was going to say on top, we have a little bit of an issue since you're using, since you use like a sphere or something to start with. It depends on the program or the person, I guess, but I'm kind of a stickler. I like to have everything as quads. So I could go in here and delete every other thing here. Although it's not letting me. But I don't know why it's not letting me. I'd have to refill the hole and redo it, I think. But whatever, you basically would want to make quads out of it. I'm not going to waste that much time. Let me show you the other one. Here's the other one. It's very Monty Python or something. Yeah, MP3 is a compressed audio, so it's a small file, but Hunter says I should ruin it on purpose. There you go. So for sure, this is getting a little carried away, though. Pinocchio's helmet. Just watch your geometry up here. So this is a bit much. And you can see we got 2,000 tries already for a helmet. That's a bit much. You don't need it to be, you don't need so much detail, honestly. So, but soon, games will be able to handle a lot more detail. So it's not totally, totally ridiculous. But yeah, it's pretty cool. He's even got depth on this one because he used a torus. And he even connected the holes for the eyes. It's pretty cool. So yeah, something like this for you guys' first model. Just something simple, a helmet, a sword, armor, whatever you want to do. And you can start building your skills up after that. Should I touch on Unreal a little bit, or you guys want more help on Blender? How do you cut holes? Generally, there's a few ways to do it. I'll usually do like what he did, where you can insert like a loop and another one. But you can see like what he did here. He already did loops on the inside and the outside matching. And then you can just kind of cut your faces out and then bridge the gap. Except it looks like there's more geometry on the inside. I'm still kind of slow with Blender because I'm so used to Maya. Where's the bridge button? Let me bridge. Never find it. Mesh, edges. There it is. Jeez. So that was a crummy show, but oh, Hunter asked what that noise is in the background. My neighbors are like building a wall or something. Yeah, it's annoying. They were using a jackhammer yesterday. So to bridge some things, you can select edge loops, and then you can press mesh, edges, bridge edge loops, and it'll bridge the two loops you have selected. But let me jump into which is faster, less graphics heavy. It depends. You can go crazy with Blender and you can go crazy with Unreal. It's just once you start having millions of polygons and lights and all kinds of other stuff, it gets crazy. So both of them can really slow your computer down. Let me jump into Unreal though real quick. So just before it gets too late so I can touch on it a tiny bit. So let's say you guys downloaded Unreal. This is the Epic game launcher. God, that's annoying. If you go to Marketplace, there's a bunch of paid stuff. Sometimes you can find free stuff here. Like I was able to find this stuff for free. And if you find something that you like, you can click add to project and it'll add it to your project. I was probably going to use this open world demo stuff to start making like an open world, it has trees and grass. And they even have tutorials of how they actually modeled this stuff with photography. They took a bunch of photos of it and then turned it into these 3D models. Pretty wild. And yeah, UE4 does take forever to download. It does take up a lot of space. If your computers aren't running it, we have the computers that we're building. Those should be ready pretty soon. Here you'll see it says launch. If you haven't done anything yet, just click launch 4.1.3. You click the little arrow to give you other options. And then once you create a project, it'll be down here. The Infinity Blade stuff, this is actually the levels from Infinity Blade and some of the weapons and characters. So I could load those up. I actually got those working in VR. They're a little crazy, but so I'm just going to start one up. If you go to launch, yeah, they gave away all the Infinity Blade stuff a while ago. I don't know if it's still available or not. You can look in the marketplace. Yeah, you can animate. You animate in Blender, so you would need to rig it first and then animate. It takes a while, but we can definitely do that. The alternative to doing your own rigging and animating is if you use a character that's like exactly the same size as the Unreal character, you can use the Unreal rig and the Unreal animations and just plop it on your character. So I've done it in the past where we just didn't have time. And I just threw my own model on top of their animations and it kind of works. Not great, but it is doable. I'm just going to start with one of these because each project you make is going to take up space. When you go to a new project, let me show you this at least. I will. There's so much stuff to. It takes a long time to learn all this stuff. So just we have time. But see, okay. So here you're gonna do a new project. There's all these different templates, basically. I've been messing with the VR one a lot lately because it actually has the built-in hand controls and stuff. There's these other versions, like if you want to just do a first person. Or I'll just do a first person one. And then you choose, do you want to do mobile? Do you want to do desktop? Do you want max quality? You would do scalable 3D or 2D if you want mobile or something like that for sure. Starter content's cool. It gives you some stuff to mess with. So I guess I'll just do that. And give it a title right there. And then click create. And then it takes a while to load up. Okay, here it is. So I think it's pretty easy to move around in Unreal. You can do that. Something like that wouldn't be too hard to animate. Okay, so I don't know if you guys have Unreal, you can pull it up. If not, you can just just watch. To move around, you can click with the right mouse button and drag, and that'll rotate the camera. This delay is getting me. It's kind of crazy. Okay, so that's how you rotate. You just click drag with the right mouse. If you want to move, I just click with the right mouse, and then I use the WASD keys. Yeah, you got to install it on the launcher thing here. If it's not installed, you'll have to install it here. So to move around, it's it's right click and then WASD, like you guys would normally use in like a first person shooter, you know? You guys all know how to use WASD, I'm assuming. Okay. Sorry, I gotta wait for a response sometimes. So that's how you get around. You hold the right mouse and then you do the WASD thing. And it's basically just like you're flying around. Makes it pretty easy and pretty intuitive to maneuver. If you zoom out, you can see this is a... Actually, let me show you a few things. In order to get around, you can... Here's your buttons for... How long would it take to animate just somebody bouncing a ball? The model itself would take the longest amount of time. And then if you're only rigging the arm moving up and down, it won't be terrible. If you want to animate the whole character, that'll take a while. So if we want to move stuff around in Unreal, there's like some boxes here. Let's try to move these. I can, instead of like Blender, which is all annoying, you have to click everything with the right mouse button. This, you can click left mouse button, and then you can click and drag it wherever you want. These arrows will correspond to X, Y, and Z. You can see in the corner here, it's got X, Y, and Z axis. So you can click and drag the, if you want to drag it every which way, you can grab the circle in the middle and it'll let you drag it on all axis. But it gets it's kind of hard to do. So it's usually better just to drag it one axis at a time. If you find it's hard to like find the ground plane, because if you push it down, sometimes it'll cut through the ground plane, and you don't really want your model cutting through other models necessarily. If you find it and it's like floating up here and you're trying to get it perfectly matched up, you can press the end key. So watch, I have it up here. I press end and it automatically snaps to the ground. That's pretty useful because you'll be moving all this stuff around and then you'll have to place it on the ground, right? What else? You can, if you want to rotate this box, the rotate button's here. It's also E is the short key, and you can rotate everything. Yeah, that can be your project. If I were you, I would just start with like start with the model. That's going to be a complex model though. It's going to be hard. So you'll have to see if you can find a turnaround of Jesse and see. If you can't find a character turnaround, you'll have to draw your own. So that's the only issue. That's a big project. You might want to try modeling something smaller to start, like a Pokeball or something. But I'll cover that with you in a sec. Let me just get through some of this stuff so we can have a little bit done here. Because this class goes fast. I never have enough time to actually get through this whole class. A character turnaround is, let me show you. It's going to be like this, specifically. It should look like this, basically. If that makes sense. So you should have your character. So if you guys are doing concept art, this is what I want from you. Design your own character and then give it to me in the 3 views. Draw lines to match him up. Yeah, don't mind the anatomy. It's actually pretty safe. Draw lines, match up like his chin, his boobs, his belly button, whatever points you have on the body. Match them all up. Do it front, side, and back. And then when you go into Blender, you'll use these images as your starting points. So I believe I showed that last week, where you can add an image in a viewport. So on the side view, I would add this. On the front view, I would add this. On the back view, I'd add that. And then I would just go in there and try to match up the model to this. And since it's all lined up, here's another example. I would need a back side though. But it would give you an easier place to start with. Something like this, you know. So if you guys have questions on that, just email me. If you want to break that project up into manageable chunks, you could start trying to get a drawing together as your project, and then start your model, and then do a rig, and then animate, and take it in steps. So let me just keep going on Blender here. So we can move, I mean, not Blender, Unreal. We can move, we can rotate, we can scale, which is WER. The shortcut keys. You can see that it locks to every 10 degrees here. I can change that right here, and say I want it to lock every 45 degrees, so you can get things on nice angles, or every 90 degrees, however you want to set it to lock. You can set how it scales to snap to things, how it moves to snap to things. So basically, if I go in here, there's geometry, where I can build more geometry. And 2 seconds. Where'd you guys go? Okay. So I can grab a box and just drag it in here from this geometry place. And I see that it snaps to the surface. It builds a box. I can change here what it'll snap to on the grid. The grid is this underneath everything. If I'm dragging boxes to it, it'll snap every so often. So this has a real tight grid. If you want it to be a larger distance between snaps, you can change this number. So you can see how the grid gets bigger or smaller. So now it travels basically 2 clicks over is a whole block. So if I want to, let me bring this back up here. If I want to start building something, I can basically start dragging in some of these geometry things. So I'll drag in a box. If you hold Alt and then move it, it will create another box for you. So I can go like this and keep building boxes. And then I can add in things like stairs. They should snap together if you have the snap thing on properly. Now I'm able to walk up these stairs. So if you could try at least doing that, that's a start. So, okay, check that out. We got that going. Watch, there's some more cool things you can do here. You can either add or subtract to things. So if I wanted to add, or if I want to subtract, that's not necessarily working. I don't usually do the subtract thing, but here's a trick. You can go in and say I want to change the shape of this. I can go to geometry editing, which is Shift 5. I just click the button, and then you can do a little bit of modeling in here. You're not going to really want to model in here. Basically, you'll be modeling in Blender and then bringing stuff in, but you can do simple box out things in here. So if I click one, hold Control, click the other, I can move them around. And now I can do like whatever shape I want. You know, these geometry brushes already come with collisions. So when I touch it, I hit it, it's got a collision. If it didn't, I would just walk right through it. These are different types that already have physics attached to them. So I could shoot them, you know? You can do a bunch of crazy stuff with this, but I just use it for basic blockouts. So you can also change the views here. So if you click this button, you can switch between top view, different side views. The top view is really good if you want to start doing a level layout. So I could do a box. You can scale it to be huge, and I can basically start making a level. You probably don't want to do a huge ground plane, but you can. And then this is when the different viewports come into play. Like, I can't really tell if that's matched up, so I have to go to a side view or front view and see how it's doing. So now I can match it up, see? And now I can see here's the block, here's the other block, and it all matches up nicely. You can have a little overflow, doesn't matter. You just don't want too much geometry penetration. I'm always going to start from the start point though, so bring my whole character start point and put it somewhere else. So now I'm starting over here. And you can just start with a blank canvas. It's probably easier. Just the first person mode comes with some maps. If you go, I'm trying to cover everything at once here. If you go in here, there's some, this is called the content browser. This is where all your stuff's going to be. Here's your first person animations, your audio, your character. Here's the materials. Here's the mesh for the character. Here's the weapons, and so on. The blueprints are right here. If you wanted to look into, there's the first person character, the heads up display, the projectile, and the game mode. So those are the 4 blueprints that this whole thing's working off of right now. You can modify them, you can edit them, you can add to them. There's some maps. Oh, I only loaded the first map. If you load all the example content, there'll be a couple little maps you can start with. If you go to geometry, there's a couple, but if you load the starter content, there's some more stuff here. So there's some architecture we could start messing with. And one of the assignments one of the tutorials I posted was how to open a door. I thought that was a very good blueprint intro tutorial. Basically, you're going to use something like this, and then a door, and then you would use, it's now called cinematics. It used to be called matinee. You can still do matinee here, which is basically like an animation in Unreal. So that particular tutorial, you would set up a trigger, a box. So as soon as somebody walked across that box, this animation would play where the door opens. But you can start dragging together things and making a house. I don't know. I mean, there you go. Got a room, right? roof on it, but whatever. You got some pillars, some platforms. You can use some of these things to animate and do like your Mario level or whatever. Everything's built to scale nicely. It says lighting needs to be rebuilt. That's because when you put things in there, it doesn't know how to light them until you go to build. You can click here and you can just do build lighting only, build whatever you want, or you can just click the button and it'll build everything. This can take a while, especially once you get really advanced. And you'll see it'll say building lighting, which honestly I'm not going to wait for. What else? So there's some other stuff in here. Let's see. It comes with, you guys can use the starter content to make me a little level. Yeah, man, Unreal's a lot of fun. I think it's really rewarding because you can just start dragging things in there and start making levels like pretty quick, and then you can jump in and play them, and it's a lot of fun. So you can use their props here. You can make, you know, whatever, make a nice little house out of it. Put a rock in there. Yeah, you could do parkour in Unreal. Hunter's asking about parkour. I believe Mirror's Edge was made in Unreal, which is like the parkour game. In order to blow stuff up, I need to... damn. I'll show you blowing stuff up like next week. There's basically a way that you go in and you make an object so that it breaks into pieces, and it's been like a year or two since I've done that. So let me get that to you next week, and we're running out of time anyways. But basically, you'll tell it, hey, I want this rock to break into 100 pieces when I shoot it, and then you're gonna have to tell it when it breaks into those pieces, what does the texture on the inside look like? You know, because there's no texture. So you need to apply that, and then you can even do it where it's like, okay, I'm doing a wall. It can break into pieces, but you can say, hey, the polygons along the edge won't break because they're support beams or something. So you can blast holes in walls and have like a support beam around it, which is pretty cool. I'll show you that next week because I'm running out of time here. But that is definitely fun. The issue with that is if you have too much stuff that is physics based and can break and stuff, it'll start slowing things down a little bit. So just keep in mind, the more polygons, the more effects, the more crazy stuff, the slower it's going to go a little bit. If you are doing a huge world and you're like, it's taking too long to get across to the other side, you can click the camera speed button up here and go as fast or slow as you want. It kind of just depends on the size of your world. So like that's taking me a while. I might want to speed it up and I can go faster. So let's see, what else is there? There's lights. The basic default map will come with, here's your world outliner, basically. So it shows you what I have in here. The arena geometry, they kind of nicely labeled it, but that's going to be everything in here. All the cubes I made, I think, are these. And then here's the lighting that it came with. So you can see it's got a light over here, which is a directional light. If you look, see the arrows here? That means it'll be coming in one direction, as opposed to like a spotlight, which will, so a directional light will come from left to right everywhere. If I'm in the bathroom, if I'm outside, whatever, it's left to right, the light's coming. If it's a point light, it's basically like a light bulb where it goes everywhere, every which direction. A spotlight is a spotlight, as you would imagine, and a skylight is meant to mimic, so it looks like this sky is giving me light. You can create worlds like this in Blender, totally. That's pretty much what you will. That's what they do, professionals. It'll be mostly modeled in Blender or 3D Max or Maya or whatever, and then all the models will be brought into Unreal. So instead of all these blocks, we'll actually have a shipping container, a floor, a ramp, a boat, whatever. So yes, you definitely can do Blender modeling. Try to make sure that you keep things to scale. I don't know if it's changed since I last did it. It used to be that a character was about 100 units high, but that's probably changed. So if you are in Blender and using measurements at all, try to shoot for like 6 feet or something. We can always pull it in and see how big it is in Blender. In Unreal, and make sure things are proper scale. But that's small potatoes. You can always scale it up and down. But yes, you can do all this stuff in Blender except for the blueprints and the interactions and stuff like that. So you can do all your lights here. Just remember, once you put a light down, it will change things, but you have to build the lighting first. If you do a light, it's got all these options, so you can make it real bright, not so bright. You can change the color, how big, how far out it goes, all kinds of stuff. I'm not going to cover it all because it'll get just crazy if we talk about all that stuff. Yeah, thanks for the countdown, by the way. Yeah, we won't go over this stuff yet. Let's see. Player starts are good if you're starting from scratch. You're gonna need a player start. So wherever you put that is gonna be where you start. Here's the triggers I was talking about. So you can use a box trigger. So and then you can plug it into the blueprints. I'll cover that soon. I'll probably either next week or when we all are doing Unreal. But basically that sets up a trigger so that when I walk into that, a number of things could happen. I would just have to blueprint it. Let's see. Materials are cool. You're going to want materials. So if I want, man, there's no materials really. Oh, here they all are. Okay, if you go to starter content and materials, they have all these materials for you. You can see if you double click into them, they're pretty crazy. So this is why I need people to do materials in Unreal. It's basically all of this equals this nice texture here. If you're looking at the textures, you can click and you can see it as a box, see it as a cylinder, a plane, or whatever model you currently have selected. I'll cover some of this too. This is kind of a lot to handle. But if we want to put some polished walnut on our floor, we could basically I'll just drag it to the floor. If I don't crash my computer. There we go. Okay, now that looks huge. That's because I have this giant box that's like this huge plane. I can change that here by making the texture repeat more. So or I thought I could. Oh, here we go. Okay, so you could scale it if I want to do it. Whatever looks right. Let me go to like 8. See how that looks. Okay, so that's good enough. If I press play, now I can see I have some floors, and you can see what's going on here. I can see reflections in it, right? There's some shininess, which is known as specularity. There, you can see a little bit of depth in it, almost. That's called a bump map or a normal map. And the lighting isn't quite hitting it because I haven't built the lighting yet, but it'll show enough. So I can make some like high-tech walls. Oh, and see, I scaled this. So sometimes when you scale things, it messes everything up. You can use this to fix it. Oh, maybe that's the problem. There we go. Now I got a high-tech wall. Concrete house, whatever. So do you guys kind of get how to at least grab some of these materials? It all comes down to when you're making your project, you have to select that you want the starter content. Okay, a normal map is, you're going to be getting to all this when we do texturing. Normal map looks like, no, not a map of a place called normal. That's what a normal map looks like. They're these psychedelic colored things that basically tell an object to look like it's 3D. So if you put this on a flat plane with no geometry, it would look like it is that shape. It's like a fake way to add detail. And that's how games look cool without having to model all these little tiny scratches. They fake it with normal maps. If you want to play around with that idea, go to crazybump.com and download this thing. This is what will make normal maps for you. There's other ways to do it too, but basically, here, I'll put this in the chat. Where are we? Check out Crazy Bump. Basically, we'll turn this flat image here, which is just a picture, right, into something like this, which when it's applied to a surface, it looks like that. And see the shadows when he moves the light around? It will actually react to shadows. So that'll enhance the fake detail. Cool. And then a UV map is, oh, I can't send web addresses for that. UV map is basically just a unfolded character. So you take a character and a 3D character, you cut some lines. It's basically like skinning a cat or a bear, I guess would be more appropriate. And you basically say, here's where I'm going to cut this thing open, and then you unfold it. And then you can put a 2D texture down on top of this. That's how you can get an image or a texture to appear on a 3D object. That's what a UV map is. Cool. What else? I'm just trying to give you a quick kind of crash course here real quick. Visual effects. There's some other cool things in here. If you go to particles, like we could do some smoke and a little bit of fire. So my couch is on fire. Ah, my couch is on fire. Ah. If you guys don't like the animal skinning analogy, think of it as a cardboard box. So you get a cardboard box, it's a 3D object, right? Break it down, now it's a 2D object, and you can print on it. Same deal. That's probably a better analogy. For you animal lovers. Whoops, where are you? Okay. Yeah, did the whole UV thing kind of freak you guys out? That's something we'll all be getting into at some point pretty soon. There's some audio in here if you want to mess around with blueprints and stuff. You can do things where it's like a trigger volume here, and if you touch that trigger volume, it lowers your health, like you're getting burned. You could do simple things like opening a door or turning on a light. There's even buttons for light switches and stuff like that. So just play around. You guys still have like I think a week or two to play around. I'll keep trying to share what I can, but this class is short and I talk a lot, so and there's a lot to get through. But I think I'll leave it kind of at that. There's landscape and foliage and stuff that I'll cover later. And we can do a whole huge landscape. And just start going crazy with it, but oh, I'm gonna crash my computer. I just pressed fill a world and it's gonna explode. But you guys have questions on Unreal or your projects or anything this week so far? When does it due? Let me see. Yeah, put your armor on a dummy guy, and then you can, make the armor fit better and stuff. Let's see. It's due. Week 10. It's going to be due, so you have this week and next week to keep working on it, which is due, I guess. You have this week and next week. So it's due the 1st November, end of the, first of the month. And it's not like I want, a final polished game that we're going to take to market right now. I just want you to work on something and show me how you've, the progress you've made. Basically show me 8 hours of learning, however you want to do it. I could say, hey, we're all going to model our hands And we all have to do that. We probably will have to do that. But I wanted to give you guys the opportunity to explore. So if you guys are into level design, you could do what I did and start blocking things out and start trying to make levels. Or you could do, if you don't have computers, you can do it on paper and pencil. If you want to do programming, you can start with some blueprints. If you want to model, you can do a model. You finish a model early, you can always do another one. You can really add a lot of geometry in this. This is a huge world. I'm inside of it. Ah. Yeah. So we play around. Hopefully you guys find Unreal fun.